Hi guys, this is Tech Howdy. I welcome you to this video tutorial on creating an image gallery in ASP.NET Core 2.1. In the last video tutorial, we finished designing our upload form to upload our gallery using Bootstrap. In this video tutorial, we will start working on the functionalities like creating the events, methods, and so on using JavaScript and jQuery. So if you are not familiar with JavaScript or jQuery, I recommend you take up the basic courses available at Codecademy, or some other options also available. All you have to do is Google for free courses on JavaScript. Also, you'll find many courses on YouTube for JavaScript and jQuery. But as I mentioned in the last video tutorial, that I will explain to you what each method does when I write the code. So if you still find it difficult to cope along with what I am doing, you can always learn the basics of JavaScript. So now without wasting much time, let's go ahead and start writing our custom JavaScript code. I can minimize this window now, and let's go ahead and open our custom.js file, which is located in our custom folder. Now let's start writing some JavaScript code. Before we write the JavaScript code, all we want to do is test and see if our JavaScript is working. So let's write the code. So just paste our test code, which is document.ready function, and we are just going to log on the console hi saying if our jQuery is working fine, we will get this message on our console. So let's rebuild our application. Just build our application, I'm sorry. You don't need to rebuild it. And then just run it. And then when our application loads in the browser, we should see our console message as hi. Let's test. So we have hi on our console. If you look at your console, you see a message hi. And now let's try to change it to see if everything works fine. So let me just change this console.log to alert and see if it works fine. Then also let me do this. Yep. So our jQuery is working fine. There's no problem. And now we can start coding our JavaScript code. So let's do it. We can minimize this. We don't need this alert anymore. So just we can remove this as well. Save. Now we'll start coding our JavaScript code. So guys, we have finished coding our AJAX post method. We have also coded our preview files method. I stopped at a point where I finished coding this method, but it's not yet completed. We have to still code our add image row and count table row method as well, which we will do. But before I code them, I wanted to explain exactly what was going on so that you are with me when we are coding this image gallery. So as you know, in our index.cs HTML contains a form. So now when I run this application, we will see a form that we will use to upload images. So let the application load. Now the application is loaded. Now you see there's a form over here. Now let me first open my Developer Tools Inspect tab and go to the Network tab. So I hear everything loaded fine. Let me just refresh it again to make sure, yes, everything loaded fine. We have no errors. Let me just minimize this a bit. Okay. And let me also bring this a bit here. That's it. Now we have something that we can see. I'll go back to my custom.js and now I'll start explaining what exactly is happening. So what I did was first I created an empty object array. I named the object array as form objects. Now this form object array is initialized with an empty array, but it doesn't contain just values. It's an array of arrays, which means each array has some objects. Now, if you are familiar with JavaScript, if you have taken the basic course of JavaScript, you know how the index positioning of elements within an array work. So the element at the first position will have an index of 0, and the element at the second position will have the index of 1, and so on. So the indexing starts from 0. So what I have done, I've made sure that the array at index position 0 is also initialized with an empty array. That means this will be empty. There'll be nothing inside that. And also at 1, the index position 1 will be empty. Now you're wondering what these empty arrays are going to store. So when we submit the form, we are going to receive two types of data. First are some files. Second is some properties related to that file, like the file name and so on. Since we are creating an image gallery, the type of files that we are going to receive is image. And the type of properties that we are going to receive is the image caption. When we are going to upload the images, we are going to provide a caption for each image. So an array, form object array will look something like this. We'll have, let's say we are uploading 3 images. So our first array will contain 3 image files. And the second array will contain 3 string properties. One will be the caption for image 1, caption for image 2, and caption for image 3. Now when the AJAX post method is called, when a form somebody clicks submit and the submit event fires, the AJAX post method is called. We will receive all the values from our form, all the data from our form, and store it in this object called as form data. What we did is we created a new variable called as form underscore data, which is of type form data. So we basically are creating a new object of type form data. If you don't know how to create objects or what is object-oriented programming, you should take up the basic course of JavaScript object-oriented programming. But for now, just understand to create a new object. That's the way we create a new object in JavaScript. Now look at this. The form data object, you can find bunch of information on MD and web docs. The form data, when you want to create a new form data object, that's what we're going to do. When we submit a form from our browser, all the information from the form that we received is stored in a form data object. Therefore, if we want to create a new object and store all the information from our old object, that new object should also be of type form data. So we created a new object of type form data and we assigned all the values of form data to this new object called as form underscore data. So I hope everybody is clear here. Now the question is why we did this. Because we want to edit some information before we send it to the database. What do we want to edit? Now look at this array here. If you look at this array, there are two arrays within this array. But how do you know that image caption 1 belongs to image 1 and image caption 2 belongs to image caption 2? So when we submit this information in our database, how does it know that to create a row with image 1, then the second column will be image caption 1 and so on? Like, how does it know that? We have to tell before posting data to our database that image caption 1 below image 1 has a caption, image 1 caption, and so on. And for that, to edit the information before we send it, we created a new object, and it works fine when we create that because it's less hassle to do so. And as we proceed in this video tutorial, you will understand that creating new object is the best way to work around with this. But for now, it's very easy to understand that since we want to edit the information before we send it to our database, we created a new object and we are going to edit that new object. Now, we are running two for loops. The reason why we are running two for loops, in our example, I need to store two types of properties. One is the image and second is the image caption. But when you created your model class and if you have added more than these properties, if you have added something like alternate text and so on, so in your case you will add another for loop. But in my case, I just have two properties that I need to send to the database as a part of my gallery image model. I am going to have two for loops. The other way to do this is creating a for loop within a for loop, and that is a bit tricky, but I didn't do that because I just had two different properties that I need to send, so I just created two separate for loops. But you can create nested for loops and you can work around that as well. But for now, just understand when this for loop runs, it will run on each file that is being submitted from our form. And to demonstrate this, I will go to the front end. So this is our form. This is how we are going to upload images and send to the database. We are going to use this form. So let's add a sample title, image gallery. I'm just calling it image gallery. Next, I select the images. I select 3 images. You would not see the preview because the preview functionality is not yet completed. When we work on the preview functionality, we will have a bunch of thumbnails over here of the images that we selected and a text box next to it to add an image caption. Okay, but for now we have not yet coded it, so you will not see it. So let's continue with this upload images. Now when you hit submit button, our API, that is post form data, will be called and the images will be submitted to our database. I've turned off my database because I don't want information to be sent to my database as of yet because my functionality is not yet complete. But for now, just hit submit and you'll see it's pending because the request is pending because database is not yet or my server is turned off. So I'll just hit that. And now let's see at the headers. Scroll all the way down. It's internal server error because the server is not working. That's fine. Maybe. Now if you scroll down and you look at your headers, what do you see here? You see gallery title and you see 3 files. You'll not see the files, but you know it's a binary file, which means it is an image. These are the 3 files that we uploaded. Now look at the form data. Now you will understand when I said earlier that in order to store all the information that we received from our form and edit it, why we used an object type of form data. That because whenever the information is from a browser is sent from a form, it is sent through a form data object. Now look at this. The form data object stores values within it in name and value pair. So name and value. So the name is gallery title and the value is image gallery. Now, where does it get this name from? It gets its name from the attribute name. So if you look at this HTML code and if you look at your gallery title, the name is gallery title. Therefore, it received its name as gallery title there. And the value is the value that you entered in the input tag. Similarly, for uploaded files, the name is files. Therefore, we have files as the name and the value is the binary, which is the file that we uploaded. Now let's go back to custom.js. And if you notice, whenever I run a for loop, every time the for loop is running, we append the file to our newly created object. The form data.append method, you'll get information on it, how to use it from MD and docs. And all you want to do is when you are appending data to your newly created form data object, you have to pass the name and the value. Okay, so let me show you here how it's done. So here, so you'll pass the name and the value what you want to add. So in our case, you will notice that I have added files and some square brackets here. The reason is because files, I have multiple files with the same name tag. I've used files for the first image, I've used file name for the second image, and I've used files for this third image as well. So in that case, we want to make sure that when the first for loop is running, the first file is appended to the form data object. Therefore, we have created as we have assigned it an array a symbol, which means that whenever the first loop will run, it will add the file at 0 index. When its second for loop runs, it will add the file at index 1 and so on. So in this way, all the files will be then appended. Similarly, for our image caption, the same process, and each file will have one image caption and so on that will be appended to our form data. Now, the next thing what we want to do is we want to submit all our data to our database. Therefore, we will use AJAX. Why would we use AJAX? Because we don't want the page to reload. We just want the information to be sent to the database without the page being reloading. And AJAX is the best option for that. So we will use AJAX and we will then add the AJAX attributes under our variable AJAX options like type. The type is post. The URL that we are targeting is the API/gallery because as you know in our controllers go to our gallery controller. The route to call the API is API / the controller's name. So our controller's name is gallery. So therefore, we are calling API / gallery. That's it. And then under the data attribute, we want to specify what data we want to send. So we are sending the form data object. And then if it is a success, we want to receive the result. We want to fire a function which will receive the result. And in our gallery controller, what result do we send if it's a success? We send a JSON response. JSON result saying successfully added with the gallery title. So we will receive this response. All we are going to do is alert it and then redirect the window to index. That's it. Now finally, we want to also make sure before we submit the AJAX options that our encryption type or end type is multipart / form -data, which I told you that you have to use that in case if you're sending files, and therefore we have to use this attribute. If you don't use it, you wouldn't be able to send it. So we are verifying that. We are setting our AJAX option content type to false if it is multipart form data, and the process data as well to false. And then we are submitting the AJAX option. Now, one more thing I forgot to mention is the form_data.delete method. And why I'm deleting the files, that's because we have to specify the name of the object that you want to delete. When we are appending our new file after reading it to our object form_data, we want to make sure that the old files are deleted, because if you noticed, when we created the object, we assigned the old values from form data to our new object. So the files will still exist from the old values in form data. So we want to make sure after the new values have been appended, we delete the old values. So otherwise, two files of the same type will be submitted. And that's the same thing that we do with image caption. Even when you go to your browser, you will have options like 3 files and then another 3 files under it, and then you will have image caption and 3 images caption under it. If you don't delete the files, you will see that there. So therefore you have to delete the old files before you append the new one. So that's it. And for this video tutorial, in the next video tutorial, I will explain the preview files method, because it's already a very lengthy video now and I don't want to increase the length of this video. So in the next video tutorial, I will explain to you function preview files and also code this method further and complete our custom.js, and then we will test uploading our files with preview onto our server and database. So thank you friends. Please like and subscribe my channel. Tech Howdy. Have a wonderful day.